All right, everybody, welcome to the One Amazing Life podcast. This is an amazing show that we do every week. It is for teens and by teens because we care about your perspective. We want to know what's going on with you out there in the world. Once again, my name is Chris Stewart. I am one of your co-hosts, and I am joined by my main man, my numero uno amigo. His name is...
Hey, this is Jamie. I'm here. And Chris, I have to note today, you're looking a little dapper. I mean, you got the suit and the tie going, but not a ton of flair. Normally, there's like a little more flair. You kind of have the basic businessman thing going. What's happening, Chris?
Good call today, James. First of all, this is a gray shark skin suit, so it's subtle yet powerful, right? But
I see.
It's because I got a special tie that you can't really see in Radioland, but I'm wearing my New Orleans Saints tie. See, so it's like a sparkly gray tie with like little fleur-de-lis signs on it.
Got it. All right.
For the world right now, you know what I mean? Support my man Drew Brees out there. Drew, we love you here on the One Amazing Life podcast. Give a shout out to Drew Brees today.
Okie doke, man. Well,
that's actually what we're talking about. What a great lead in. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be a great show, Jim. I'm fired up, man. Talk about Father's Day, honoring fathers.
Yep.
Talk about what it's like to have one, maybe what it's like not to have one, people's experiences with it. And what do you think, man? How's your week been?
You know, week's been good. A little crazy. A lot of stuff to do. A lot of content to record. Things to put together. But I'm excited because we have three amazing guests who are here this week who I know all of their fathers. And there's three amazing fathers represented by three amazing guests. So, Chris, maybe we should get to know these people.
I agree wholeheartedly. We do have three amazing guests today. I'm super excited. We're going to start off at the top. And my first guest, his name is?
Hi, I'm Andrew Peterson. I am 21 years old. And something, if you really knew me, something you may know is that I've hit a deer with my car before.
Whoa, what? Oh,
what?
Man. Jumping right out of the gate with like a crazy wildlife story, man. Was everybody okay? What happened?
The deer, I do not believe was okay. It was just me in the car. I was driving home one night, middle of Michigan, middle of the night. Speed of traffic was a little bit over, so that's some reference there. And something I learned after the fact is you're not supposed to swerve when you're about to hit a deer. You're just supposed to take your foot off the gas, don't hit the brakes and hit it. But I swerved, hit it.
Yikes.
Luckily, everything was okay. Car had to be fixed up a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. I did not get to keep and eat the deer, sadly.
Well, crazy. Well, at least you're okay. I mean, that's a crazy story. Sometimes that story can go bad. That's good. Thanks also for sharing that advice about what to do in case that happens to one of us. I would have swerved myself, so thank you for pointing that out.
Hey, I'm also excited today, Chris, that we have a college student with us today. We're kind of stepping a little bit outside of our normal pattern. We've got a couple high schoolers and then also a college student. So shout out to Andrew for being I think our first college student on the show.
Andrew is our first college student on the show, Jamie. That is exciting, you know, and we're actually recording this at graduation time too. So it's kind of like a double excitement here, man. This is cool. So yeah, Andrew, thanks again for being on the show. We really appreciate you.
Of course.
Okay, and my next guest, the queen over there, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Ava Mazzelli, and I am 16 years old. And if you really knew me, you'd know that I want to be a surgeon when I grow up.
Serious right off the bat. We've had Ava go numerous times, and she is always a delight. So, Ava, thanks again for being on. Any type of surgeon you want to be? I mean, like anything you want to do, like heart surgery, brain surgery, knee surgery?
Maybe either like general or peds or like another specialty.
Well, either way, you know, it's great we're talking about surgery because I believe that leads us right into our next guest who just had surgery. And before I spoil the story, why don't we go ahead and introduce him?
Hi, I'm Kai. If you knew me, I recently had surgery. And another fact I was going to say is I like to surf, but I guess we're on this topic now, so that's good.
And Kai, how many surgeries have you actually had? I feel like I've known you for a while, and I feel like this is kind of a common occurrence every year around this time. Is this true?
Well, I've only had one surgery, but I mean, yeah, I've just had one.
Would you say that are you injury prone? You seem like kind of a rough and tumble guy.
I broke my ankle at the beginning of last summer, and now I have knee surgery at the beginning of this summer. So I've been kind of like bamboozled for both summers. I'm a little down about that, but it's all right.
Way to bring in the word bamboozled. I'm glad that word has made it into our podcast.
Man, we're off to a great start already. We got Father's Day coming up. We want to honor all fathers. So for all the fathers that are listening to this show, I'll just start off by saying we appreciate you. We thank you for all the sacrifices that you make for your kids and, the examples that you set for them. Jamie, you're a father, so I know this is, a big deal for you as well to have a show like this. So we want to say thank you to all the things that you do for your kids that they might not thank you for yet because they're a little bit smaller, so they probably don't appreciate it yet, but eventually They will.
Yes, they have not thanked me for all the times I've given them timeouts or sent them to their rooms. Yeah, they don't really thank you for the discipline side of things, but it's been great. Being a father is a pretty amazing thing, and it's great to have kids. So thanks for mentioning that and for giving me a shout out.
I guess Ava, let's start with you. What's the relationship like between you and your dad? What does your dad mean to you?
I think we have a really good relationship. He's always been there for me, and I can go to him when I need to, and I can talk to him, and he's like really easy to talk to, which is nice.
Is the dad you have now, is that your biological father?
No, it is not. I was adopted, and this is really like the only life I've known though, so I don't really know anything else. I don't really remember anything else but the life that I'm living right now, and I'm really grateful for that.
I know there are a lot of kids that are going to be listening to this show that have been adopted, and we just want to really include everybody in this show and let them know that that's very cool that they have adopted parents, and that doesn't make anybody any different, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I love the relationship that you have with all of your family, but especially with your dad. When you see you two together, you can tell you guys really love each other, and that's amazing. Now I want to jump over to Kai. Kai, what's your relationship like with your dad? I mean, you seem to be you got the broken ankle, you got some other stuff, you're very active. Do you and your dad get along pretty well, or do you feel like he kind of tightens the reins on you a lot because you're kind of like always on the move?
Yeah, it's kind of like a mix, like he's super supportive and I love him, of course. And he's always like for sports, he's always there for me and helps me out with everything I need. But yeah, he's especially with the sports aspect, he's really pushy on like not doing crazy stuff. Cause he's like, don't want to break my son. He can do sports, like he tries to help me find the balance in between sports and like crazy other stuff. But yeah, no, he's always like very supportive and like always there for me. So it's great.
That's cool. Kai, do you feel like you can talk to your dad about anything?
I mean, I can talk to him about like a lot of I don't know about anything. I mean, it's just like, of course, if I like really needed to, yeah, of course. Like, I mean, he would listen, he'd be supportive like of anything. But I feel like sometimes it's like, it's almost better to talk to your friends about some stuff and your parents about other stuff. Obviously, like, I mean, if it's like super important and like something that's going to be super impactful or something that's like, I don't know, an emergency. Yeah, of course you can talk to your parents. But if I really needed to support, like I wasn't in a good place, I would completely be comfortable with talking to my father about that stuff.
Nice. And I like the way you worded that because it wasn't like that you couldn't talk to him, like that you were hiding anything. It was just, like you said, I think it's important to, get different perspectives, on some stuff but you can always talk to your parents about stuff like that. But it's also good to get friends' perspectives because your friend might say, yeah, you need to talk to your parents about that, right? Or it might be something that, that you need to experience on your own. And that's really, I think, what a good parent does is support the decisions and actually trust the child to make the right decisions already when you get to this point in your life. Andrew, being that now you're in college and so you kind of, started to make your own adult decisions and gotten some more responsibility than you did as a high schooler. What's the relationship like with your dad now compared to say how it was 3-4 years ago?
It's still good. It's pretty good. It's tough to maintain any relationship when you live 2,000 miles away from someone. You just got to make that conscious effort. So like I'll still talk to him. I'll send my dad memes all the time. And whenever I'm in town, we'll always go play ultimate frisbee, or he plays disc golf every Saturday. So a lot of times I'll go with him. And it's just about maintaining that relationship.
Now, can you beat your dad at disc golf?
So I have beat him once ever in a evenly matched game. He is injured right now. His right elbow's acting up. So last time we played Saturday, and he played lefty, and I beat him, but doesn't count because he was handicapped. So
Secretly, it felt good though, didn't it?
oh yeah, great.
Now, Andrew, I'm going to stick with you here. What was it like with your dad growing up? What kind of relationship did you guys have? What kind of family dynamic did you have? What was your dad to the family? Did he work a lot? Was he still kind of in your guys's? Was he there a lot during the time, or what that looked like?
Oh yeah, no, my whole family's been together forever. My parents actually got married at Solana Beach Press, and my dad started working there over 17 years ago in 2003. So he's been working at the church for a long time, which is great. So like he works full time all the time, but it's never too much. He doesn't really have to travel a whole lot. So that's nice. He's not gone for weeks at a time. The one thing that is a bummer is my birthday is on Christmas Eve, which means he always has to work on my birthday. But other than that, it's great.
Christmas Eve birthday, boy, that's got to be a lot in its own challenge. We might have you back for another show just to talk about that. Hey, but jumping over to you, what's been the biggest lesson that your dad's taught you in life?
Hard work eventually pays off, and like you have to keep trying at everything and give like 100% of your effort, even if it's not your favorite thing to do, or if it comes hard to you.
Now, did your dad teach you that by just telling you that, or did he teach you that by showing you that, or both?
I think both. I think it's important to tell a person that, but then also showing me that like within his life that he's done that. So I think that's been really important for me.
Now, Ava, can you give us some examples of some things that you have maybe tried or that you do currently that, that your dad has had to remind you, like, we're not quitting this, not till we see it through? Do you have any examples of that?
I think right now, like schoolwork, and like it's a lot harder to like get motivated to do schoolwork, but just that I have to see it through, and like, because some of the classwork is like optional now, but I just like have to see it through, and I'm almost done with it. That's
great. I appreciate that. Ava, I'm going to come back to you, so I'm going to leave you with the question that'll give you a couple minutes to think about before I come back. But I want you to think about like an event that you and your dad just did that meant the world to you, kind of like your favorite memory of you and your dad so far in life, okay? But I'll come back to you on that. I want to give you a few minutes to think about it. I'm going to cruise over to Kai right now. What's been the big lesson that your dad has instilled in you, or kind of words of wisdom?
I think very similarly to like the hard work pays off, and more of like if you are like determined at something, you can go for it, and you just got to give it all you got. And if you really want it, you're gonna get it. Like you're gonna get there, and like like just really like you put in the time, and you get good results, stuff like that.
No, that's great, Kai. What about what's a time that your dad has really shown you grace, right? Like I don't want to say like a gimme, but you know what I mean? But maybe something that you did that wasn't, I don't know, man, we all make mistakes, right? But can you think of a time when you did something wrong or that you really should have got, punished for, and maybe in a severe way? I don't want to say severe. It makes it sound like it's very dramatic, but you know what I mean? Just something that you did that you thought you were getting a lot of trouble for. And your dad was actually like, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. And,
one time I was backing out the car when I had my permit, and there's a bike rack on the back, and it was like super expensive bike rack, like crazy expensive. And I'm backing it out, and he's like, all right, just take it slow. And I just like completely ignored everything he was telling me. And I stepped on the gas and there's a boulder right behind the car. And I just ran that bike rack right into that boulder. And it like destroyed like two little places where you put the bikes. So like so much money. And he's like, what? And he like goes out and he like looks at the thing. He's just going crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like dead. I'm never gonna see the light again. And he told me, he's like, it's completely like understandable. Like I'm pretty sure he said he did something like that when he was learning to drive, and that he's gonna have a very larger caution on me next time we drive. But I thought I was done for sure, and he really like helped me out with learning more than punishing there. Like really try to teach me more than punish me in that situation, which I think is really good.
Wow. Definitely sounds like you dodged a bullet on that one, man. But once again, I think that's a great example of just the kind of man that your father is, you know what I mean? And understanding that and not coming to any conclusion. Then it was just a way for, you know, somebody who's just learning how to drive that you know, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, what about you? What's some like really good words of wisdom that your dad has kind of given to you over the years, or something that kind of always sticks with you that when you're doing stuff, like always keep believing in yourself and things like that?
I think one thing that he said the most, or that I remember the most also, is just be kind above all else. Nothing else matters really as long as you're kind. I mean, it's simple. It's just something to always think about when you're interacting with anybody in your day-to-day life, is kindness wins.
No, I love that. And I think that's so true. You know what I mean? When I think of like the great leaders of our country, or even great spiritual leaders throughout the years, you know what I mean? Like that's a great one. You know what I mean? That's something that, you know, we try and instill in everybody, right? It's just to be kind, you know, and especially with the way the world is today, I think a lot of people could actually use that advice. Andrew, can you think of a time that your dad kind of gave you the lesser of two evils, shall we say, or showed you a little bit of grace on something that you thought maybe that, you know, you were going to get in a lot of trouble for, that he kind of let slide?
I can't think of a lot of things, because a lot of the things I did was 6-7 years ago, but more recently, I know I've smashed a couple cars, and I know I haven't had to bear the brunt of those burdens financially. It's not like you did it, you empty your bank account to fix it. Hitting a deer. One time I almost hit a dog. I was driving on ice and ran out in the street and had to swerve, smashed a curb, knocked the car out of alignment, shattered a hubcap. And there he's always like, yeah, you're still new to driving on snow. We'll fix it. We'll take care of it. Just be safe.
Man, that's great. I'll tell you, as much as I appreciate you guys being on the show, I'm glad that we all brought our own cars to the show today. Kai and Andrew, I'm going to come back with the same question that I left for Ava here on a special memory that you guys have with your dad. And Ava, are you all set to go on this question? What's a special memory you thought of that you and your dad have shared? Like,
it's not really like just me and my dad, but it was kind of like a family. But like we like to go on vacations, or like we used to before Grace went off to college. And one of the times we went, I have to say, to Roatan, and he like really wanted to go fishing with us. So we woke up like 5 a.m. to like get out on the dock really early to go fishing at like the best time. And I think that was one of like a really great experiences that we like all shared with him, and it's something that he really enjoyed, but then like also like I really had a lot of fun doing it.
Nice. Did you guys catch any fish?
We did.
Oh, that's what makes it even better, doesn't it?
Even better.
I've had a few of those get up at 5 a.m. and you sit out there and you don't catch any fish, man. I do not have the same happy memory. Oh, that's cool. I'm really glad to hear that. Now,
and Ava, I was just going to ask, you know, you're the career that you are aiming for, your goal is similar to that of your dad's. How has his influence, or how has that influenced you, your dad, in terms of what you want to do for your job? I
think I've always I kind of recently started to really kind of ask him, just when we're driving sometimes, out of the blue, just what's one of the weirdest cases you've seen or something, just information on some cases that he's had. And I think it's really part of the reason why I want to be a doctor is because of him, because I've seen what he does, and I really want to do that, and I really want to help people.
That's awesome. Andrew, have you did you get a chance to think about a time that you and your dad spent together, or just a happy memory of you and your dad?
Yeah, so not last summer, but the summer before that, my dad was working at a conference in Rome, and the rest of the family got a chance to fly out and meet him. And we got to go up to France and Switzerland, see some family friends. But unfortunately, my brother and mom had to leave early because my brother was starting at Santa Fe. So they had to get back for the first day of school, which left my dad and I with, I think, 3 or 4 extra days on the trip. So we rented a car and drove up from Geneva up to Germany through a few countries. So we had a little European road trip, just the two of us. And then on the way back, we flew into London, had a nice 12 hours there, got to see the city, and then went to Iceland for another, I think we had like a little over 12 hours there too, got to see that new country, and then flew home to LA and down to San Diego. Just the two of us, which was super fun.
Man, that sounds like a great trip, man. Wow. Super cool, man. I love that. That's a great story. And then Kai, what about you, man? What's a great memory that you have with you and your dad?
A great one of the great memories would be my family goes to Yosemite National Park every year to camp there, and so it's always super fun. And the last time we were there, me and my dad did the hike Half Dome. You know, like the Half Dome. It's like the glacier there, and it's like a 15-mile hike or something like that, and it's like all straight up, and it's normally takes people like 15 hours round trip. So we started like super early in the morning, like crack of dawn, like kind of like Ava's situation, and we're hiking up, and it was just like, just me and him hiking for like hours and hours talking, and it felt like such a big accomplishment when we get to like the top and we see everything, and just hanging up there like talking to ourselves, and we just lay down and like take a nap, and it was a good like father-son like bonding time for sure. So yeah, that's probably the best one that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, man. Not only a great bonding time, but also a great adventure, it sounds like, man. Well, cool. Well, before we end the show today, I got a couple more questions here, but Andrew, what do you guys do over at your house for Father's Day? Do you guys have a tradition, or is there something? I mean, for Mother's Day, typically there's always like the breakfast in bed or brunch or something that, mom doesn't have to do any housework or the dishes. But what do you do for dad over there?
My dad's a big board game guy, or card game, or any kind of game we can all play together as a family. So normally if we get him a new one, we'll play that, or we'll just do something together as a family, kind of without screens, just playing games.
Now, similar to kind of like what we were talking about with Frisbee golf. Now, do you guys let dad win on Father's Day, or is it like all rules are off?
Absolutely never. Well, his rule growing up is he'd never let me and my brother win, no matter how young we were, because that way when we actually beat him when we're older, it'll be so much more rewarding. And I hated that when I was younger, but I really like it now, because now I know when I beat him, he never lets me win. He still doesn't. He won't let anybody win ever.
I actually like that. I think that's a great lesson to be taught, man. I think that's my favorite part you've shared so far. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I really like that motto, right? Teaches character, right? That's but also allows you to win later too and feel good knowing that it wasn't a gimme. So that's cool, man. Good for you. Kai, what about you, man? What do you guys do for Father's Day over at your house?
Well, normally we do like my dad loves loves to be active and like exercise stuff. So normally we'll go up to like the mountains and go for like a mountain day, like mountain bike ride, or like we'll go camping. Loves to camp. So we'll go up in the RV or tent. We'll just chill and look at the wilderness, and then, cards and little presents and share memories and stuff. And just a lot of family time, I think, is probably what he likes the most is for Father's Day. So that's what we normally do. So I think we're going to do something like that for this Father's Day too.
Oh, that's cool, man. Getting outdoors is a good spot to be. And then Ava, what about you? What do you guys do over there for Father's Day? I know you guys.
We don't have like a specific thing each year that we do, but usually we like to, like me and my sisters like to make like handmade cards for him. And then we kind of just spend some of the day like as a family and all together.
Cool. I like that. Handmade cards too. That sounds like a cool gift. You know what I mean? I know dads definitely appreciate that, taking the time to write a little note, something special. So that's really cool. My last question of the day is going to be, on this show, we always make sure that we give our guests an opportunity to say something to any of the people that are going through the situation that we've been on. And today I'd like you guys to take a brief minute or so and just kind of tell your dad what he's meant to you. and what he continues to mean to you, and anything that you want to bring up special as a special note just to him. And, you can make it personal if you want. This isn't just to all the dads, but, just something maybe he's done for you, or just the way that you appreciate him, if that makes sense. Andrew, we'll start with you.
I would say thanks. They do a lot. Can't really do a lot without them. But also, one thing I will say to younger kids out there that I have recently learned is dads know a lot more than you think they know. And I hate to admit this, especially if he hears this, but he's right a lot more than I'd like to admit. So if he tells you something, you should probably listen.
That's humility right there. I love that. Thanks, Andrew. Cool.
And then, and Kai, what about you, man? What do you want to tell your dad on Father's Day? Or
I think I would just say, or I'm going to say, like, I don't know what I would do or what anybody would do without their dad. And like, I mean, I feel like it's just such a big support group in your life. It's a big foundation for most people. Like, I mean, it's your safety net for a while. And, if you need, it's like a built-in, like talking, like your friend or whatever. So like all the support and the love that comes from that, I think that's super crucial, and super thankful for that.
And Ava, how about you?
I think I'd just say like, thank you. And like a lot of what I do is because of my dad, and like he makes it happen, or he's inspired me to go out and do something. So I just like, thank you for that. And that it's really important to have like a father figure in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Jamie, before we go to you for kind of a few closing comments, I just want to kind of also throw in that, I liked what Ava was just saying. And, I didn't have that kind of a dad that we've been talking about on this show. Me and my dad, for whatever reason, we kind of butted heads probably since I was about 7 years old. And for most of my life, 90% of my life, we were not close at all. And that wasn't the relationship that I had. So, if you were kind of in my boat, you know what I mean? And maybe either for whatever reason, your father is absent, or, you don't have a dad that lives with you, or you don't get to see him that often. Maybe, your parents got divorced and they moved away or something. It is great to, there's plenty of other people that you can allow to be father figures. You know what I mean? I've had a lot of great men mentor me over the years, and, some are youth pastors, and some are teachers, and some are coaches, and some are music teachers. And, sometimes they were just guys that were a couple years older than me that, kind of looked out for me as I was growing up and things like that. And, at first that was kind of tough for me, because I had this expectation that I always had to have this dad that was perfect and was always looking out for me and stuff like that. But, that's not necessarily true. And you do the best with what you have. But the thing that I always can rely on is that I have a Heavenly Father that really has always looked out for me. And when I look back over my life, I see all the times he has, saved me by grace numerous times on things that I probably could have been punished more severely for. And so I'm grateful for that. But to all the dads out there, we do want to say happy Father's Day to you. And we do appreciate all the things that you do. And Jamie, I'll turn it over to you for a few closing words.
Yeah, I think, Chris, just like you're saying, it really does remind me, in the book of Ephesians, we hear that we're all adopted into sonship, meaning, which kind of sounds like a weird term, but it means that God has chosen to adopt us as his children. And that's everyone who God has kind of grabbed up into this whole life of faith thing. And so, I know a lot of us have a hard time thinking about God as Father if we don't have a father who's around, or we don't have a father who's perfect, which, by the way, that's all of us. None of our fathers are perfect. But maybe you have a father who's way less than perfect or absent. And because of that, I think sometimes we think that God's like that, but that's not really the case. God has actually chosen to adopt each and every one of us into his family. He wants to be our father. And kind of like Andrew was saying, for everyone out there, we choose to let our fathers be fathers or not, if that makes sense. If they're giving us advice, we kind of have a choice into like listening to it or not. Or if they're telling us, hey, hard work pays off, like I heard from Ava and from Kai, if they're telling us that, we have a choice what to do with that. Same is true with God. When God comes up to us and he kind of gives us advice, tells us maybe where to go, what to do, how to live, we can choose what we want to do with that. So God is a perfect Father, perfect heavenly Father, and so I just want to point towards that Father, like you did, Chris. And I know that God has our best interest in mind eternally.
Thank you, Jamie. That was amazing. And you know what? I just want to thank again all of our esteemed guests today. I want to thank Abe. I want to thank Andrew. And I want to thank Kai for being on the show. You guys did an amazing job. It's an honor and pleasure to have you on the show today. We want to give a big shout out again to all the dads and say Happy Father's Day to you all. And we hope you have an amazing day, definitely, with whoever you spend it with. And as always, we want to thank our amazing producer, Patrick. Without him putting this show together, we could not do it. So thanks, Pat, for all the behind the scenes work. And Jamie, once again, Happy Father's Day to you, my friend. Thanks again for always doing the show with me. It's always a pleasure. Okay, that wraps it up for this week on One Amazing Life podcast. We will see you all again next week with a new episode. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. God bless.